Bringing Humanity Together. Welcome to another special edition of Conversations for Humanity here on Wonderful Wednesday. Of course, it's another great day to be alive and another gift not only to receive, but to give as well. We have our special guest today, Miss Lori Potts, all the way from hot and very humid Arizona. And I'll feel for you because I couldn't take that kind of heat out there. But I would say this. If I can send you the rain, I'm going to give you the rain because you probably need it for all that hot weather out there. But we're glad that you're here ready to share your story with us here on Conversations for Humanity, powered by Bring Humanity Together. So, again, welcome everyone to the Bring Humanity Together live stream. This is one of three open forums under the Bring Humanity Together umbrella where people can discuss topics related to the workplace and humanity in the workplace in a very positive and constructive way. We want to know what the issues that are out there that are facing people today because it's our goal, our mission, our passion, our purpose, and I dare say our calling here at Bring Humanity Together to create environments that people will love, not only in our workplaces, but also in our very communities. And as always, we'll be going live every day of the week, Monday through Friday. We have our community calls booked in at the beginning and the end of the week. If you'd like to find out the details of that, please send me a message. And then, as always, we'll be going live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, all at either 2:45 or 3, because this week's going to be kind of unusual. We're doing now LinkedIn audios. Yesterday was called Sharing Care with BHT, the audio experience. So that was really great and engaging. I had a lot of people on that call yesterday. And then tomorrow will be Humanity Happy Hour, the audio experience. So if you'd like to find out how to be on those calls, let me know and I can send you the details. So, Lori, how are you doing today on Wonderful Wednesday?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on here, Chris.
I am so humbled and honored and everything like that. And I know we were just talking about the weather before the show and everything like that, but you got to tell us, how hot is it?
I haven't been looking at the weather because it's just a little bit too painful to see those numbers.
Oh,
But I believe it's between 113, 118. I'm originally from Arizona. But so I'm, expecting it to be that hot. Um, and we just moved here. So it does take some getting used to still. We were originally in Idaho and summers there in the 90s, which is just beautiful. So
yes.
getting
You
used
told
to
me it was
it.
like night and day. It's polar opposites. It's like totally different in Iowa than it is in Arizona.
Burning hot 8 months of the year, freezing cold 8 months of the year.
Exactly, exactly. So, where do you actually live in Arizona before you moved to Idaho?
Gilbert, it's a suburb of Phoenix, and we're in Chandler now, which is also a suburb of
Okay.
Phoenix. So we're close, near family.
Very good, very good. So we have our great team member and team leader, Brian Bottomays, is here with us today. Hello, Brian.
You doing, Chris?
I am doing
Nice to
great,
meet
sir.
you,
How are
Lori.
you doing?
Yeah, good to meet you too, Brian.
Yeah, I'm doing fabulous. I had my first face-to-face meeting with one of my LinkedIn connections today, and
Awesome.
he is thinking about investing in my company too.
Awesome.
Exciting.
So, yes, it's
That
a
is
pretty
great
big blessing.
news.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Great
We
news.
spent 3 hours together today. So
Congrats. That sounds exciting.
yeah, yep.
That is amazing. And I know those kind of calls because sometimes, as the old adage says, when time flies when you're having fun. So when you're having fun, you'll just go on and on and on. And it's amazing sometimes how conversations can work out. And I have to bring this
It wasn't like that though, Chris.
up. I know I'm just saying though, but you'd be surprised though. Sometimes when you get in just in a great and engaging conversation,
Oh
sometimes
yeah.
you just go on. You just forget about the
Yeah.
time.
Oh yeah. And actually, it was a little over 3 hours, and we were actually planning on 4 hours to begin with. He actually picked me up at like 6:30 this morning, so and we went on a road trip. He had to make a delivery and everything.
Okay.
But he's right out of Montoursville, which is only a little less than an hour above here. So um, it wasn't too far for him to go. And then he said it was like perfect too because it was his day off and everything. and he just had to tie some ends up, and then his family's going on vacation for like 7 or 8 days. So, and he said to me this morning,
Wow.
he's so glad that he was able to talk with me, because he was looking. He's a real good Christian, and he was looking for a Christian brother to talk to and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool.
Well, that is awesome to hear, and that is great
Oh, yeah.
that you had a great opportunity to connect with someone that would really help out what you're building there at Graceful Triumphs, and I can't be so humbled and honored to even be a part of that too as well. So I just see great things happening in and of itself. So we're going to have some great conversations about that too as well. So, like I said, Lori is a great friend of mine, and if I remember correct, Lori, the way we met was from Jan Barlow, correct?
Yes, correct.
And if I remember right, you actually do the thing with Otter too, don't you?
I'm not sure what you're referring to.
The
Otter?
Otter AI that takes meeting notes and everything.
Yes, I have been using it some of the time. I enjoy that
Yeah,
tool.
because
It's
when I'm
really
on the call,
helpful
I'm
to
like
just be able to
Otter, and
reference
I'm
what
like,
it is that we talked about. I really like using that. It's nice.
would you like using that software?
Yeah, I think I haven't used like a subscription yet, so I'm
Yeah.
still kind of testing it out. But yeah, I really enjoy just being able to look back at the notes, and they're very accurate. It's a very
Oh,
accurate
they
software.
are.
Yeah, and
Wow.
when I'm like working with clients, being able to ref- just tell them like, hey, here's the notes, so you don't have to watch the whole thing again either. So they know what their homework is, they know what tasks they have before our next session. It's nice.
Well, that is amazing because we may end up using Otter here down the road here at Bringing Humanity Together. And
Nice.
like I said, what Jan is building at Better Job Fit and the HR Disruptor Summit and everything that we're both a part of, I just see great things happening with that. And like I said, I'm just so humbled and honored that I can have the opportunity to work and collaborate with you and Lindsay Andriotti and uh, Susan Hubbard, and there's so many other different people too as well that's been a part of the HRDS summit. That is just I've just been so amazed at what the kind of conversations and people that I've been come in contact with that and see Lori, when you really think about it, when people come into your life like you have and Jan and of course Brian and so many other different people, when you really have that opportunity to get to know who they are, and I truly believe this is a better question to ask. I don't want to get your take on before we turn it over to you. Um, do you believe that the better question to ask is not what you do, is who are you?
Well, it depends on the objective of the conversation. But if the objective is to, become more, connected with a person, and, if it's a discovery call, with a client, the objective is going to be different than a, coffee chat to be a collaborator for a LinkedIn Live. So, it's an important question if we're going to get to know each other on a deeper level, have a, long-term relationship, then yeah, I would absolutely agree.
Yeah, because I just truly believe, like I said to you before the show started, I truly believe conversations can lead into connections, and those connections can turn into collaborations, and those collaborations will literally build out a great and growing community if you allow that to occur. And like I said, for me, these calls that we've now hosted now for a great number of months now has really opened my eyes to how the power story can really shape and actually to a certain degree define who we are. And once we really get in tune with that and see what they see and believe, and then they can in turn, when through the power of their story and sharing that, and then we can connect with them on a deep and meaningful human level, then maybe we can also in that same return in and of itself, that we can be able to see what they see and believe, and just let that be for what it is. Yes, we may not agree on a lot of things. We may not even be in alignment on a lot of things. But if we can really come together and meet on a place of common ground, I truly believe a story can do that, because you
Yeah.
don't know how that story will play out for people.
Yeah, it's important, especially in like today when it's so easy to make assumptions of someone, like on social media, for example. They make
Mhm.
a comment and you can immediately assume that they're in a particular group. And we don't like seek to understand the perspective. We just like immediately respond. Whereas if someone, like if we're talking to someone like face to face, like what we say and how we communicate, usually we're very different. So yeah, I find it important to learn the skill of civil discourse and trying to understand another person's perspective, like sincerely doing so, so we can really solve problems and meet as many needs as possible.
And I'm in total alignment with that. And see, the beautiful thing, the way I've built out bringing humanity together with all these great and amazing people, and I truly believe we can do this in every aspect of our lives, Lori, is when we allow the dynamic of alignment and the agreement to be for what it is versus what it's not. I truly believe those dynamics in and of themselves are literally are gifts in and of itself. And when we allow those gifts to be in a place in space for people to where they can say, I can start the journey to get to know who you are on a deep and meaningful human level, and I have to maybe start that journey from agreement and then work my way to alignment, or vice versa. I have to work from alignment and take that journey into agreement. And see, like I said, when those two gifts are literally are combined, I truly believe it will be the greatest coup de grace moment for humanity, on not only on an individual scale, but I truly believe on a huge scale, that will be the greatest gift in and of itself. But when people do see not only there's an alignment with them, but also in an agreement with them, and we just let that be and let that grow and flow from that place, and I truly believe in that. And when we truly, again, just take people for who they are and meet them where they are and build that bridge to them and with them in such a way, not only does it work in our world, but works in theirs. I truly believe, Lori, the greatest gift of all is really the gift of transformation.
Yeah, that's one of the aspects that I absolutely love of what I do, just helping women transform their communication to make a better, a bigger, or more appropriate influence on their careers and lives. It's one of the most fulfilling aspects of what I do, just helping them transform their life
Exactly.
overall.
Exactly. All righty. So it's about that time, Lori. It is going to be your time to come share your story on Conversation for Humanity. So the floor is yours. So please come share your story with us here on Conversation for Humanity.
No, thank you, Chris, for having me. It's such a pleasure. So I'm a career coach, corporate trainer, public speaking coach. I got to where I am by just honestly being who I am authentically. When I worked in tech, but I've always been really willing to just provide candid feedback. And my supervisor recognized my willingness and ability to do that and asked me to continually, provide him feedback on his leadership because, I would tell him like, hey, we went into this meeting with this plan, but you ended up communicating in this way, which isn't what we intended. So, he recognized my ability to bridge that gap between his intent and impact. So I essentially became his informal coach just by being me. And from there, I went on to coach for TED Talks, helping speakers to refine their messages and make the impact on their audiences that they intended, tell their stories in inspiring ways. And then one of the speakers asked me to help her advance her career, and I helped her with her resume, applications, interview prep, communication skills, and eventually got her from specialist to director level. And we completely skipped management. She's just absolutely fantastic and deserved that 100%. So while I was building my business on the side, I worked in marketing and organizational development. And from there, in 2020, I was just like, I'm done working in marketing. I don't want to do this. I never really wanted to. It's just the majority of the skills that I had built during my undergrad. And so and there weren't a lot of training opportunities in the area where I lived. So I had to take the type of jobs that were available. And that was, well before the pandemic, when more remote jobs were available and normal. And so from there, I just decided I'm 100% done with marketing and chose to focus solely on my business and started doing, resume writing more, and then went full on into career coaching and corporate training. I've done training for Meta and for small businesses, just helping people to better communicate with their teams, save time in meetings, those types of things, and helping people to improve their public speaking, to be seen as highly competent and warm, however they want to be perceived. I help bridge that gap between what they intend and the impact that they actually make. So that's essentially what I do. And why I got into it is because I get to be authentically me. I get to be assertive, to be, how else do I describe it? Just driven, be a person that people seek advice from. I've always been one of those old souls. I always got that as a child, that people would describe me that way. And so it just came naturally to me to advise people. So as a child, I wasn't necessarily, those attributes weren't reinforced for me as a girl. I grew up in a very chauvinistic household where my father did not appreciate women being assertive, and I was just born that way. So being able to be authentically myself in that way for clients has been healing, and been like, I just get to be who I am, and people appreciate it rather than see it as a detriment.
And what was the catalyst for you, Lori, to get in the place and space that you're in right now that's probably turned into your passion? Was there a pivotal moment for you that said, hey, this is what was meant for me to do, and it's not just a job, but it's literally my mission? What was that for you?
Yeah. Underneath a lot of the insecurity that I learned, a lot of the insecurity that I learned from childhood, or that was placed upon me from others' insecurities, I always knew that I could. And but what, like, the catalyst that made me go full on 100% into my business was I got let go in 2020, and not like laid off like a lot of people. I was fired. And this was once the pandemic was already going, when a lot of people were already let go. So I like, apparently my performance was that bad. I never gotten the feedback that I was a bad writer from anyone else other than that boss. Everyone else in my life had always said I was a good writer. I think just the skills that he was looking for in a writer, I think he was looking more for a creative writer, and I'm very much technical writer. And so, I got let go, and I'm like, I'm done trying to be someone I'm not. So when that happened, I was just like, I'm going to do something else that brings me the fulfillment and passion, and what reinforces who I already am. So I decided to, I could have just gone straight into coaching. I already had testimonials. I already, had done it and knew I was good at it. But my insecurity that had been instilled upon me, I was like, oh, I can't do that yet. I have to do something smaller first to prove my worth. So I did resume writing through a company as an independent contractor. So when I did, I just realized okay, I don't like how this company is operating. They they had Slack channels where people could ask questions, and some of the questions the resume writers were asking, like, this person should not have been hired as a resume writer. Like, they're an independent contractor, so they don't have to train these people. So they're just asking questions like, what's an applicant tracking system, which are the systems HR departments use to filter applicants. And like when apparently a client asked them that question, they didn't know how to answer it. I'm like, you have to be able to like know what that is and how they operate to effectively write a resume. So I just didn't agree with their hiring practices and how they were operating. So I just decided to, focus on my own business and stop writing for them. So those two things I would say are like two of the biggest catalysts. And as I got more active on LinkedIn, I built a tribe of people who supported me as my authentic self and loved every single aspect of who I was. And that just makes the biggest difference, having people who support you as who you are, because it reinforces the behaviors that you want to continue. And if we're going to make it easier on ourselves to meet our goals, then we should have people surrounding us, supporting us in those goals.
I totally I couldn't said it better, because when you do have a supported team with you, it can get you to places that you probably couldn't go on your own. But when you allow people to feed into you and literally pour into you of their experiences, what they've gone through, and everything like that, and then in turn you can do the very same thing with them. It's almost like, Lori, I truly believe the very act of giving is in the very act of receiving. When we allow that to occur, we can have great things happen before us. So I
Yeah.
see we have Monica here with us today. Hello, Monica. How you doing?
Hello, Chris. Hi, everyone. I'm very well, thank you. Apologies for a little delay. The weather is terrible here in London, so I was coming back from work quite late. How are you guys?
Well, doing great on this wonderful Wednesday. How about you? Is the rain keeping you down, or are you going to say, hey, no worries, it's going to keep on going no matter what?
It won't keep me down, definitely not. Not at all. It's raining, that's a fact, but yeah, it won't stop me.
Well, we're glad that you're here with us today, because Lori is sharing her amazing story with us today. So we're glad you're here. But Lori, as you were sharing that with us, this is what came to mind, especially when you talk about resume writing and things of that nature. The one thing that I've always had a big thing with is, especially in a lot of organizations today probably don't look at it as such, but I look at it differently. Let me get your take on this, Lori. Do you believe that we can go beyond the resume to get to know who people are, just because they can? It's almost like we check the boxes of what experience they have, what level of expertise, and all that kind of stuff. But because I know you probably have had some history with that, but wouldn't you like to see people get away from the resume, so to speak, but really get to know people on a deep and meaningful human level?
Yeah, I get your point. But when it comes to an HR department and how they function, they have to be efficient in some way, and resumes are one way to do that. The applicant tracking system will say, based on the keywords, accomplishments in this resume, titles, this person, these top 10 people who applied are the most likely to be a good fit for the role, right? So yes, absolutely, we need to get to know people on a deeper level to know if they're a good fit for a role, and for the culture of the company. It's fair to HR to understand that they have to be efficient, because hiring managers will spend their entire day looking through hundreds of resumes, if not for that. So, however, about 40 to 80% of job offers come from referrals, whereas only about 2% come from applications. So there's definitely value in getting to know a person, and that speed of trust that you can produce from knowing someone who also knows someone on a deeper level. So yeah, there's absolutely value in, you know, the principles that you just shared, Chris. Knowing someone on a deeper level, and then introducing someone so they can get to know someone on a deeper level, not just helps HR departments be efficient, right? Someone just said, hey, this person's a great fit. Here's the resume column, right? That saves time too for everyone. So yeah, getting to know someone on a deeper level, whether that be for a referral or the hiring manager in an interview, that's essential to ensure both that a person's getting a role that's a good fit for them long term and that the company will benefit as well. So there's that equal ROI on both sides.
Exactly. Brian, I'll go to you, sir. What shows up for you right now? And Lori's created an amazing story.
I like the fact that I mean, she definitely knew more than what the HR department did about what makes what was I trying to say? Shoot, lost my train of thought here.
About the applicant tracking system?
Yeah, but I still can't remember what I wanted to say. Lori, this happens quite often on here, so
don't worry about it. Don't worry. We all lose our train of thought once in a while.
And maybe it's because I got up at 5:30 this morning too, so I don't know. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. I'm not really into HR at all, so to speak, or into resumes at all. But anyway, it's interesting listening to what you have to say.
So Lori, the question that I got to ask you is, you say that you've been in creative writing for a while. How did you even get into that as a creative writer?
Yeah. So what I mentioned was that the hiring manager that I worked with, I believe he was looking for more of a creative writer, but I'm a technical writer. Resume writing is definitely technical rather than making something sound like a different kind of story, right? You tell a story with a resume, but it's different. So I got into marketing because those were the jobs that were available that matched some of my experience that I had during my undergrad. I had done some marketing, but also organizational development and training. When we lived in Idaho Falls, which I just moved from, there's just not a lot of organizational development or training opportunities there. They don't have the idea of people operations. It's still traditional HR there, very much so. They're not as modern in their approach, and it's smaller. There's about 90,000 people in Idaho Falls, and while I lived in a, so to say, suburb of that area, there's just not as many job opportunities. So I, took jobs that I could get. So I worked in marketing for a while, doing Facebook ads, doing writing, email marketing, those types of things. So that's how I got into it. And it just wasn't something that I was passionate about. I really wish I could have gone into training and organizational development because that's what I was really gifted and good at. But I just had to take, what I could to make ends meet for me and my family.
So if that is your passion of the training and development of people, then Lori, I think the next question then becomes, especially from maybe an HR perspective, could we reimagine HR in a different way? Could we get to a place maybe of something like this? And I want to get your take on it, and then we'll go around to Monica and Brian. What about human development? Can we embrace human development from a place, not only from a personal space, but also from a professional place to, again, kind of make them whole? What say you on that?
Yeah, absolutely. like I said, some companies are taking a people-centric approach to human resources now, which is very important given the change in attitudes towards people's tolerance towards terrible cultures, towards leaders that are ineffective, who are abusive. So if companies are to thrive, then they need to adapt. Otherwise, they die. It's adapt or die. And so the companies that are taking a human-centered approach, not just ensuring that that a potential employee is a good fit for a role, but making sure that they are a good fit for the potential employee, that they're going to meet their needs. We have to, take a more personalized take on how, what people's needs are more holistically these days. If we're only looking at, okay, is this person going to meet the qualifications for a role and meet the organizational needs, then it's not going to be sufficient to retain that employee and meet their needs holistically. People aren't just employees. A person is a whole person. They have a family, they have kids, they have more than just job responsibilities for 40 hours a week. So if we look at a person as a whole person, then HR will be able to better retain employees, have higher return on investment, morale will be better, and as a result, performance is better. So it's not just about employees. Research shows that if you treat your employees well, then they're going to perform better. So might as well, right? Put the money where it's going to make the biggest impact, and that's where employees lie usually.
Well, see, what I truly believe and what we believe here at Bringing Humanity Together is what we probably have been led to believe for a lot of years, Lori, that from the status quo mindset, not only from a place of maybe of management and organizational structure, but maybe from a place of that's all they know is what they know. For a lot of years, and I've seen this play out day after day after day in my travels and business for over 35 years, that the status quo says that employees are replaceable. But what we truly believe here at Bringing Humanity Together, and I've been a firm believer in for even longer than Bringing Humanity Together has been incepted in, is that people are irreplaceable. What say you on that, Lori?
Yeah, when it comes to people, 100%. Each person is unique. Again, taking the devil's advocate approach for HR and an organization, they do have to look at how, if a person is meeting the organization's needs. So if they're not, then they can't continually keep investing in a person if they're not achieving what it is that they're expected to. So sometimes have to be let go. I am a firm believer in organizations not saying we're a family here at X company, because you don't let family go when times are hard, and you don't fire people if they're not performing well in a family. I feel like that's very deceitful when you say we're a family, because it doesn't enable people to get a realistic view of what the expectation should be for their role. So that's one of the things that's like a red flag.
I love that.
I teach clients, like if they're saying they're a family, like that's not true. They can't function as a family if they are a for-profit business or even a nonprofit. Like you still have to meet business expectations.
Exactly. I see that. But I got to go to Monica because I got to ask her. What's your view when it comes to human development, Monica, and what Lori has shared with us so far? What comes to mind for you right now?
So I haven't heard the full story, Laurie. Apologies, I missed that. However, I I truly believe that a shift, a mindset, the change in the mindset, perhaps in organization, would help us to see people in a different light. I think because and I'm talking from experience over the years. HR or the organization are quite fixed in terms of the standards or the requirements they have for the role. So you might not be a good fit for the role, whether you might have a true potential, but then perhaps you're not good in writing the CVs. So I think there is a gap here between sort of finding that true potential and then perhaps matching with the mission and vision of the organization. I'm talking about a very sort of a holistic way, very idealized, vision, but seeing that employee for who he might become, and sort of perhaps help him thrive together with the organization. Let him fall in love with the mission and vision, and then perhaps try to create that family. Obviously, I'm not thinking about a family in terms of allowing employees or having benefits only, not responsibilities. We have to balance this too. But obviously, I truly believe that if those employees will fall in love with the mission and vision, and they, will be able to develop, and thrive with the organization, they will definitely have a, perhaps good, they would want to drive business forward, because obviously when the business will be successful, obviously they will be successful too. And I truly believe that obviously we're missing a lot by not seeing that true potential in people at this stage, because they might not be fit for the role. And I truly understand obviously that there are certain requirements that the hiring managers would want the employee to sort of fit into. But to me, in ideal world, it would be that bigger picture, open mindset, and seeing people for, okay, you fit, ticking the box for some, the core perhaps skills, but then help them to develop those other essential ones to help them to thrive with the business.
Community is a really good word to describe that balance of family, like that descriptor, and a business organization. Like if you want employees to feel like they're a part of something, like a bigger mission, like you described, community is a really good word to use. I feel like companies use that word more rather than family. It would be a better descriptor, and still describe that we're supporting each other and we're here to meet a bigger mission, but also ensure employees' needs are met as well.
Absolutely. That's absolutely true, Laurie. I couldn't agree more with you on that one. And I think perhaps we sort of move away from this tick box exercise in terms of coming to work and then just, watching the clock until, 5 o'clock, or, to do 8 hours and then perhaps leave, having that bigger vision and mission in heart, and then help the organization to grow, and then, the growth would be perhaps associated with the growth of the employee as well. So the more the company would grow, the employee will thrive more, etc. Vice versa. It's it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome, Brenda Leeson-Berry. Thanks for being here.
Well, I was going to segue to Brenda Lees because she's right in tune to what you are sharing with us right now, Lori and Monica, because she's all about being you. And I think this is a great time to, Brenda Lees, we got to share with Lori the 5 pillars of bringing humanity, should we not?
if I can click on the bottom, of course. I know Lori. Lori and I have connected before, and it's actually really amazing to see you here. So I'm glad you're here, and part of the momentum that Chris is trying to build with bringing humanity together. I love that. Absolutely, go ahead.
Well,
Present.
yes. So, Lori, we got to get your take on leadership, human development, family, and community. What shows up to you when you hear those pillars of those 5 dynamics, which I truly believe that are interconnected? What say you?
Yeah, they are very interconnected. Again, depending on the objective you're going for, it seems like HR is very much a big conversation that you continually have, Chris, every time I've talked to you. Keeping in mind each of those principles definitely can help an organization to retain employees and ensure that they're meeting employees' needs and taking a business-centric approach as well. So you're balancing the two to ensure that the organization is there long term, so they can continue to pay employees. They're meeting their business objectives, and they're also having employees are also having a good experience. So yeah, all of those principles together, very important to meet employees' expectations and ensure business outcomes are achieved.
Well, see, this also brings to mind this dynamic too as well. See, what I truly believe, Lori, instead of having employees, maybe we should have partners.
Yeah, it's a good word to describe the relationship that employees can have with a business.
Yeah, because see, to me, employees is a dead term to me, and this is why. Because, like I said earlier, employees can be replaced, but like I said earlier, people can never be replaced because we're irreplaceable. So when you get into that partnership dynamic, and I truly believe in what we truly believe here at Bringing Humanity Together, Lori, that the best investment is the human investment. And we still can't even put a price tag on that. But if we can do it from a place to which I truly believe will be the next currency of humanity, and it's going to be rooted in such a way that it's going to be about creating a dynamic of the next currency will be value and not money. Because see, again, Lori, once we know who we are, what we do is a natural byproduct of who we are. And that value dynamic and what we see and what we believe in and everything like that. And I truly believe in that. So Barry, how are you doing today, sir?
Good evening, everybody. Yeah, doing okay. A couple of hours ago, I had an incident with the car where my diesel pipe popped and split, and I had to call the AA out, and they came out to me within the last 2 hours, and I've only just got in about 25 minutes ago. So apologies for being late, but I've been under the bonnet of a car and my hands are still a bit slimy.
No worries,
So,
man.
anyway,
We're glad that
things
you're
happen.
here. That's all that matters, man. That's all that matters. So, Brenda Lee, since you know Lori well, if there's one great thing that you know about Lori, what would that one thing be about Lori?
Oh my God, you put me in the spot directly.
And it's been a while since we've talked.
Chris, I love you, but not so much. I'm just
Certainly
no,
raised
you know
my
what?
eyebrows, Brenda Lee.
No,
Put you right in it.
you know what? I know Lori from a very short period of time. However, I feel like I've known her for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
So if I could describe Lori, well, I am going to describe what my perception is, right? She is someone who advocates for people and their well-being. She is very well in knowledge, like the amount of knowledge and her level of collaboration with others. It's ridiculously good in a great way. It's like she's open to people to collaborate with her. She opens her heart to it, and I would say her audio event, not audio events, her video events in LinkedIn are one of my favorites because she covers so many different topics that impact us at a human level very deeply. So that's what I know of Lori.
And
Thank you.
I'll agree with you, and I've known Lori probably a lot less than you have. But in the times that I've gotten on calls with her and Jan Barlow, and of course Isabel in the HRDS Disruptor Summit, I've come to see that she is just literally really focused of uplifting humanity and helping humanity rise. And
It's so
maybe
important to me.
we can
Just
do
making
that.
making the world a better place.
Yeah, exactly. And see, that's why I truly believe when we take a stand and we see something that is truly possible, we don't say no to it, we say yes to it. And when we go forward into that, in those kind of small moments that leads up to those big moments, then people will end up saying, well, how did you get involved with bringing humanity together? Well, I was on Conversation for Humanity. It was Jan Barlow. It was Brenda Lees. Then next thing you know, it creates a legacy. It creates a vision. It creates literally a story of where you are writing that current chapter in. And I truly believe with that in tow, it's going to open up so much of a bigger world than we can't even possibly imagine. And I truly believe, Lori, what you're doing and what Brenda Lee's and Monica and Brian and Barry's all about, when we collectively come together, and this what came to mind too as well. What Sven said on our call with me and Isabel earlier today is think about it in this way. We can be those tools and people to get people to where they want to go. We are the ones right here, right now doing that. And I just truly believe when we are literally in a collaborative dynamic that we can be a part of something, but we don't have to really conform to it. We can be our own person in and of itself. And that's another thing that he said. He's like, Chris, what you're building here is something about not only being a part of something, but we don't have to literally totally conform to it to such a degree we kind of maybe lose our sight of why we are here. It's about letting that all that kind of things to kind of sink in and let it be for what it is. And then next thing you know, when we have that aha moment and we get it, oh my gosh, the possibilities are endless.
So speaking of my LinkedIn Live, because Brenda Lee's mentioned them, I'm actually doing a LinkedIn Live this Thursday. So it's tomorrow at 11 a.m. Mountain Time for anyone who wants to talk about shaking off the shame of mental health with one of my collaborators. Then everyone is welcome. So I'm going to put that in the chat here.
Oh, please do.
Love everyone to come. It's such an important topic to make sure that, you know, not just organizations, but individuals, each of us are understanding that we don't have to feel shame for our mental health challenges and that we can support others in them as well. So I'm going to put that in the chat for anyone who is interested in attending. Feel free to RSVP and we'll be live tomorrow.
What would you like to know about mental health, Lori? Because
what was that?
What would you like to know about mental health? Because I've been through several psychoses, and
yeah, I
have been a long-term sufferer of anxiety and depression for many years since my sister passed away when I was only 6.
Yeah.
I'm now 51, so I know an awful lot about mental health, and I've got certificates of study of what I've done on it as well. Yeah,
my collaborator and I, we both have multiple mental health conditions and just feel really passionately about being able to have honest, open, empathetic conversations about the challenges that we face individually and others. So that's one of the reasons why we're doing it. So
it's okay not to be okay. It's one of the big ones.
Hear your thoughts.
Yeah, it's okay not to be okay at times.
Yes, that's such a good way to put it.
Yeah, it's really interesting, guys, because I think it's not necessarily being labeled, it's like if you can see it as a invisible labels, but the mental health or some sort of a mental state, it's so common these days. And then it's like the world is mental, universe is mental. And it's like it's a natural state of being for people these days. And it's like living in this very unpredictable world, I would say. It's pretty difficult, and challenging. So I'm truly grateful, and then I'm really happy for seeing obviously the HR and then loads of organizations now being involved and getting involved with this mental health, activities. They sort of this awareness days or sort of a supports employees in going through a difficult times. And then it's to me, it's they are becoming more not an employer, a family or the community, providing that support to employees. And I think it's truly beautiful, and it's really really important. So yeah.
Well, I appreciate that share, Monica. Thank you.
For those of us that are in tune as empaths, we kind of knew that after COVID, mental health and degenerative illnesses were going to be the next pandemic, because of us having to be stagnant and be so enclosed for so long, and not knowing when countries were going to release certain procedures to make it safe for us to go about our lives. Once we started to become housebound and living in tight communities, we knew that even in the workplace that mental health would be the next agenda and next topic.
That's true, Barry. And I believe I truly believe that the mental health become a topic that it's more openly discussed these days. It's always been a problem to certain extents, but these days we are addressing an issue and then we're trying to sort of heal it from core. But I truly believe that living in fear and then, creating a community or society of people who are, stressed, anxious, or uncertain about the future, tomorrow's, and sort of creating that chaotic state of minds, it doesn't really help at all. So, communities like this one, or even the organization, when we spend like a 3/4 of our lives, to be honest. So having a good, employer in a way that supports your mental health, supports your well-being, it's really true blessing, because it's that additional extra support that we can get from people that we spend a lot of time, almost our lives with, the whole life. So it's important, I think, to address this topic and then to talk about it and then to support people,
And I see that we have Lori back. I'm glad that you're back.
Thank you. Sorry for the disconnection, Chris.
That's all right. No worries. So since we're on the subject of mental health, I want to go to you, Lori, and I got to ask you, what does mental health look like and mean to you?
It's a good question. I mean, for me specifically, like the challenges that I face, I have mood disorder, anxiety, and fibromyalgia, which is a little bit physical and mental, where I just have, I have a lot of brain fog. Like Brian earlier, you just lost your train of thought. That happens to me all the time because of it. So I've just, learned to take it, one day at a time. And it's helped me have more compassion for others. Frequently, it's easy to quickly judge other people. But if we're to create a healthy environment for everyone, having the approach of giving people the benefit of the doubt, and assuming that people are already having a hard time, which most of the time we are, there's always something we're struggling with, every person. If we do, then we're going to have a more compassionate approach just to our everyday interactions with people, just being a little bit more patient, a little bit more understanding. I would say that's a good kind of summary of an approach to helping just create a better humanity and bringing people together, just like the title of the show, Chris.
Yeah, and see, you just sparked something in me right there, Lori, by saying it the way you did. I will share this with you all, and I want to definitely get your take on it. A few of these, a few of you guys have already seen this, but I just truly believe it's so poignant right here, right now. And it comes again from Star Wars that has changed my life like you'll never know, and it comes from this great quote: "Embrace others for their differences, for that which makes you whole." And I truly believe in that. So I'll start with you, Lori. When you hear that, what really jumps out at you when you hear that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't think I've ever heard that outside of like the movie. Yeah, just those two thoughts of embracing others for their differences, probably what's different from ourselves, enables us to have a broader, different perspective on the world. So we're a more holistic, we have a more holistic view. So we can be more educated, more understanding. So not like that term, become a whole person, enables us to be more compassionate, enables us to learn skills that we wouldn't have otherwise by interacting with people who are different from us.
Yes, and I love that because, see, I truly believe, Lori, it's not the differences that we also should be aware of and really be in tune with. It's what we have similar to one another or common ground. Again, both sides of the coin that makes us whole. And I truly believe in that. That's why that quote just really just hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, I got to share that. So, Brenda Leese, what's your thoughts right now?
On the quote?
Anything, everything.
Well, you may not want to know everything that's going through my mind. I'm just kidding. So in terms of the quote, I think this is a interesting quote because when we think of each other and when we think with the fact that we're not all the same, meaning that each one of us have different assets. And if we recognize the difference between each other, and instead of using those differences to work against each other, we recognize that those differences can build us together, then that's how you become part of the greater whole, because now you can complement each other. And if you could have gone X far just by yourself, by complementing with people who are completely different than you can get even farther.
You're bringing it again, Brenda Leese. You're always hitting home runs. I love that. Monica, what say you?
I truly love the fact that we openly talk about the well-being, mental health, and that being okay, and that we addressing this and accepting, the fact that we might be, facing some problems, but then having or seeing others, this sort of empathetic and compassionate look, and I'm, perhaps accepting that they might be going through a difficult time also, and then I think, what makes us human being is just being, social creatures, but perfectly imperfect, so embracing the differences and then accepting people for who they are, and not really from that judgmental, position, because obviously I'm talking from experience now. I used to be the first one to sort of show, the fingers, but obviously sometimes we should perhaps think about the fact that, maybe I look into a mirror and then maybe I can address those issues or problems with myself, within myself first, and then, change that opinion about others.
Love that. Thank you so much, Monica. Over to you, Brian. What's on your mind right now?
I would also go back to what we were talking about before with community. Community. Well, first of all, I like how Lori put it, where it's about the big picture. And that's the difference between community and family, because you can actually see the big picture and what we're all about and stuff like that, and what we were put here for. The other thought that I had is, when we were created, our body is, or we are actually each part of the body created together. So that's how we represent the church and everything too. But at any rate, what I'm saying there is, with that quote, if we embrace each other's differences, then we can figure out, hey, you know what? If we look at it from a body perspective, like the hand can't do what the foot can, and the heart can't do what the brain can, and stuff like that. But we all need to function together. That's what it's all about. And if we don't embrace each other, then it's just gonna fall apart eventually. And actually, if you think about it, that's what happens to the body if a portion of it isn't being used after a long time. Like say you go brain dead or something like that, stuff like that happens, but but if we are truly embracing each other for our differences, then, like I've said before, that's where the magic happens. And that's when we get to embrace not only ourselves, but the light that we carry as well.
Brian, well said. I'm just literally awestruck the way you just put that. That was really, really deep and just really awesome. Barry, what say you?
Well, see, now the biggest thing with mental health, you can't see it. If it was a broken limb or an arm or a leg, then you instantly make allowances to that person because you can physically see what's wrong with them. With mental illness, depending on the level, the depth of their psychosis, or the part of their journey where they're recovering or spiraling into, it's very difficult to ascertain that. So you have to be compassionate. You have to take a step back and be a good listener firstly, because once you've heard the story, or you can then build the picture, then you know where they are within their psychosis or their recovery, and then you can allow that to happen with them and give them the support and guidance when it's needed. But the biggest thing when you are personally going through it is to get help. And that's hard because that's a courage step. And once you take that step to ask for help, then you are on the road to recovery. That's the biggest hurdle. A lot of people don't get to that. They take their own lives because they don't have the answers. They're fearful for being labelled. And it is so not. A lot of the time, these things can be overcome, and you can heal from a mental illness. And there's various states. And that is the biggest thing. It's just compassion and listening. And
Listening
once you
is
can
one
do
of the
that, you
most
can,
underrated communication skills. It's the most important, but people don't talk about it.
for sure.
And that is why I truly believe, like I said, with the 5 pillars that we have, we can literally embrace each part of what humanity has to offer, and those things that is there, whether it be mental health, whether it be people not being made whole at work, or they feel like they're being left out, or they, it's like what you said earlier, Lori, about, hey, we're all about family here, but they don't do as they say and do as they do, because they may preach it, but they don't practice it. And
Hmm.
I truly believe what we can do here, Lori, is really flip that around to where not only we will do as we say and do as we do, but we create a space and place for people to where they can truly say, I belong here. This is where I can see myself growing and thriving, because they know, number one, it's not about them, it's about me. They care about me. They want to know what my well being is all about, how they can create a bigger ROI in my bottom line to get me to where I want to go. Because again, if they focus on me and get them to where I want to go, it's going to come right back to them and helping them get to where they want to go, whether it be from a place of leadership, whether it be from a place of organizational culture, whatever that might be for them. But if you create that space there with them and for them, again, you put it on their timetable, not on yours, but you make it about them and not about you, that completely changes the game, does it not?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me today, Chris. It was a pleasure getting to know everyone here and sharing my story. I really appreciate the invitation.
And I'm going to put this out to you, Lori, right here, right now. We would love to collaborate with you and work with you here and bring humanity together, Lori. So we can't wait for that day to come. So we're just so humbled and honored for you to share your story. And again, if you'd like to connect with Lori, I've already put her links on there, and she's already shared her LinkedIn event tomorrow. Please be there. And what was the time again on that event for you guys tomorrow?
11 a.m. Mountain Time, 1 p.m. Eastern.
Very good, very good. Lori, have a great day. Make your day. Thank you so much for being on Conversation
Thank
for
you.
Humanity. Appreciate you.
Thank you,
Uh-huh.
everyone. Bye.
Have a good day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
All
Likewise.
right,
Thanks.
very
Bye.
good, very good. That was an amazing session, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just really awestruck. So I know Brenda Lee's had to go, and Lori was just a phenomenal guest. Thank you so much. But I want to go around the room and get the sense of what everyone's thinking. So I'll go over to you, Monica. What did you get out of today's call?
Well, that was very inspiring conversation. And I think it's really important to sort of address the, not the problem, but the importance of organizations, the businesses, or, the bosses in our development of not only the employee, but the human being. Because having spent so much time at work, like, I don't know, 3/4 of our lives, and then not being happy in what we do, or not being supported or heard or seen, it sounds like a bit depressed, so I'm deeply I'm happy, and I'm so sort of grateful that the organization shifted towards that way, because you can see greater emphasis into a not only having employees like a tick box exercise, or sort of looking into employees as a skill set, or just a CV, and a set of experiences, but also seeing them as a human beings, as a potential, the human capital, that the more they grow and thrive, the more the growth of the organization is being also amplified as well. So I think that's having that balance and a win-win situation and creating that environment of like a safe environment when they can thrive, not necessarily having a good skill set, obviously taking the, you know, basics perhaps, but, you know, to have a the compassion or seeing the ones that perhaps not great for the role, but, you know, help them to get that skill set or to grow their, you know, into that role, to make that role, you know, fit for them. So giving those opportunities to the people who not necessarily, you know, fits in, to not, to, you know, to feel, you know, safe and also supported by the environment. Not, you know, no, you can't do this job because you haven't got those skill sets, you know, but, you know, seeing them as a, okay, what can we do here to help you grow and get those skill sets perhaps, you know, so you feel like you've been supported and like in the family and the community.
Yes, exactly. Well said. I couldn't agree with you more. And that's, like I said, that's another reason we're going to do great work here at Bringing Humanity Together, because we see those opportunities, we see those ways. And see, the beautiful thing about that is, Monica, there's just not one way to do it. There's multiple ways to do it. There's so many things that we can do, like we were talking about yesterday, that's in our toolbox that we can get out and say, hey, this is what we can do here, or this is what we can do here. It doesn't matter which way you go, but it's about taking that step and say, I'm going to use these tools here. And if they break here, I'll just move it and go to another place. And by doing that, you create a space and place for people, again, to not only be to belong in and be a part of, but you get them to really be in tune to not only who they are, but to be able to see what you see and believe, and then they are allowing you in turn to see what they see and believe in and of itself. So I got to go to you, Barry. What's been going on your mind right now on this great and engaging conversation with Lori today?
Well, I did come into it a little bit late, but as it was about mental health, having been challenged for quite some time in my life, I can see it from all sides. And being an empath, I can just get the sense when I'm in the room with certain people, I gravitate towards them. It's like it's like a tractor beam. You just know that something isn't quite right, and maybe they need the courage just to reach out and ask for the help. And I've always said I'd give you the last shirt button off my back if I knew it would help you and benefit you and take you forward. And that's just the way I am. Like I put in there in the box there, live your life with gratitude and love in your hearts. We can't help everyone, but the ones we touch and care for know that you're doing the right thing for them. And that's what BHT is about, surely.
Yeah. Well, think about this, Barry. I will go to none other than the great John C. Maxwell when he said this many years ago, and it's so poignant right here, right now. He said, nobody knows how much you know until they know how much you care. And when people really know that you care about them, you could know all the things in an organization or all things in a community. It doesn't really matter. But if you don't care about them, they won't even care about how much you know, because it really won't matter to them. But if you show that caring and that compassion and that empathy, and again, you make it about them and not about you, that completely changes the game. Brian, what say you, sir? What's your final thoughts?
Chris, when you spoke earlier, I mean, the light bulb went off in my head. And I really think that the points that you made about corporations, when you embrace them as a person and their full potential, and also not only that, but their total satisfaction and stuff like that too. That was mind blowing, and I think that is something that needs to be revisited as well.
Yeah, and I completely agree with. That's why human development will be the next evolution of
Mhm.
HR. Because
Right.
see, because when you really think about it, Brian, we're destined to evolve in one way, shape, matter, or form. We're destined to do that. But see, it's up to us to recognize that number one, that we're going to evolve, and then number two, are we allowing ourselves to take that evolutionary step? We have to be willing enough to say yes to that. And if we're not willing to say yes to it, then we will not go to the evolutionary step or our next journey there within. Because if we don't say yes to it, we'll be doing the same thing over and over and over again. And what that becomes, it becomes the very definition of insanity, expecting a different result and doing everything under the sun literally possible to seek a different outcome. But see, that is why I truly believe what we're going to do here, bringing humanity together, Brian, Monica, is create all these 5 pillars that we have now established. And again, not only make them whole for the world to see, but say they've already been there. Either you have not either recognized them or you embraced them or whatever that might have been for those people. But maybe if we can shine a light onto each pillar for these people in such a way that does bring awareness to them, brings them a sense of belonging, brings them a sense of understanding and empathy and compassion and courage and even curiosity. Again, the better question to ask is not what you do, is who are you? And then once you get in tune with that, organizations will grow and thrive like no other time. Because again, if we make it about the people that we help and serve for being a part of what we're building in our organizations today, think about it. There's 2 words in the word community. There's community and there's unity.
Yeah.
So if we can be unified in what we do and how we do it, whether it be from an organizational structure or even from a community structure in tow, they're, like I said earlier, they're interconnected. It's already there. I naturally believe if we show how we can connect the dots, so to speak, of the 5 pillars to everyone that we meet, or even from an organizational standpoint, it will be the light bulb coup de grace moment for humanity. And I truly believe that we can show that and share that with humanity like no other time in human history. So again, Lori, thank you so much for being on Conversations for Humanity with us today. We're so humbled and honored to have you share your story. And again, please connect with Lori. This is her LinkedIn page. And of course, for people on LinkedIn, you're to see it as Lori T. Potts. Go connect with her there. And then for her event tomorrow, this is the link for her event. Please go get to that event. It's going to be at 1 East. I believe she said it was 11 Mountain. I believe it is. It's only 2-hour difference because she's in Mountain Time. So please check out her event tomorrow. And if I get off early from work, which I probably will, I'll definitely join the event. But again, thank you so much, Lori. Thank you, Brenda Lees. And thank you, Brian and Monica and Barry, for being on today's great and engaging conversation. And shout out to Computer World for being on the call today. And if you'd like to know more about bringing humanity together, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself or even Monica or Brian or Brenda Lees or anyone else in our great and growing team. And if you want to even come share your story on Conversations for Humanity, here is the link that you can do that with. This is the scheduling link. Just come click that, schedule your guest appearance spot, and we would love for you to come share your story here at Conversations for Humanity. So tomorrow we will have Humanity Happy Hour, the audio experience. So tomorrow is not going to be a LinkedIn Live. It's going to be audio. So there's something new for us tomorrow. But we will love to see you guys tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time for the audio experience from Humanity Happy Hour. Miss Carla is not going to be with us tomorrow. She's going to take some time off. So she is going to allow me to take over for tomorrow. So please come tomorrow. If you'd like to know more about that, send me a message and I'll get the details over to you. So from all of us here at Bringing Humanity Together, have a great day. Make your day. And we'll see each other tomorrow on Humanity Happy Hour, the audio experience. So Monica, Brian, have a great day. Make your day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, let's
Bye.
let's